Hey guys, Chris here with another deep dive into all the colors of the Roboworm curly tail worm in the 4.5 inch size. So why are we talking about, a Roboworm soft plastic that's been around forever? Well, there's something very special about this bait for me, and Roboworm's colors are awesome, so it's always good to do a deep dive into their colors on a particular bait. So what's special about this bait to me is it is a phenomenal drop shot bait because it gives your worm a little bit of a kick and a little bit of a swim. So it's a fantastic drop shot bait, but I'm not really using it for that anymore. It's kind of fallen by the wayside for me because there's just such a proliferance of other companies making scented drop shot baits. So I've kind of moved on. Probably not the brightest thing to do, but I still keep these in my arsenal for several reasons. One reason is it's awesome for kids. Sometimes your kids want to feel like they're, big fishermen and they want to fish a plastic worm in the weeds. So you can fish this with like a 1/0 or 2/0 straight shank hook with like a little 1/16 ounce weight, and you can fish it on really light line on the kids' spin casters with like 8-pound line. And it's like they're fishing, a big plastic worm, but they're not, because it's light line and the fish essentially hook themselves. Another reason that this bait hangs around for me, besides the drop shot, is I fish it on like a Ned head or a little super finesse jig head, and it doubles for me as a killer swim bait. Now, it doesn't have a typical swim bait tail, and that's part of the magic of this bait, because you don't get that unnatural wide tail kick in the back. Because it's a curl tail, it tends to make the whole bait snake a little bit more. So it's a phenomenal, in any color, it is a phenomenal clear water swim bait. And that's how I primarily use it now, in smallmouth waters, in crystal clear water. Doesn't matter the color, to be totally honest. They all catch a ton of fish. Now, you could say that might be a drawback to this bait, and it kind of is, because I have my record tiniest bass I ever caught on this exact color Roboworm curl tail worm. I caught a largemouth bass on this that was smaller than the bait. So this is the kind of bait where if you just want to go out and catch a ton of fish, it's not a size bait. It is a numbers bait. And maybe, you'll hook into a giant, but you're going to catch pretty much every small fish around with this. And sometimes you just want to go out and do that. So it's got a place. And like I said, it's that unique action that makes me keep it around. The unique action and the awesome colors. So let's get into the colors now. Let's take a close look at them. You guys can use this to decide what you need in your arsenal. Again, this bait's so effective, you only need to pick 2 or 3, and I think you're good to go. So starting out, we have one of Roboworm's premier colors. We have Aaron's Magic in red and black flake. So Aaron's Magic, it's watermelon, red flake on top. It has a blue lateral line and a brown pumpkin belly. So you have a combination of watermelon red flake with the blue, which is an awesome combination. And then you have the combination of the brown pumpkin with the blue, which is another awesome combination. And then you've got all of them together, in a triple color bait. That's probably why this bait kicks ass, and this color is one of the best from Roboworm, and it's often imitated, never duplicated. And it's just the subtleties, I think, with Roboworm, with the micro red flake, and there's something about that blue that is it's not translucent. It's just got like almost a shimmer in it, and then that brown is not overpowering. It's a very natural brown. Just an awesome color. So there we have it. Aaron's Magic with the red and black flake. All right, next up we have Aaron's Morning Dawn. So Aaron's Morning Dawn is essentially Morning Dawn, but it has a white belly. So you have the clear pink on the top with the micro red flake in it. And then you have the lateral line of a light purple that's translucent, and then that white belly. Awesome color. You know, I think with pinks like this, they don't really read pink in the water. I think we're kind of mistaken on really how pink these things look in the water. I think, you know, once they get a couple feet under the surface, they just look like a translucent, alive color to bass, and I don't think it's really bright. I think they see it as something that is more translucent and blends in and looks a little bit more lifelike than we realize. And I think sometimes we shy away from these colors because we think they're so unnatural, but I think because of how the visible spectrum of light works under the water, that you know, reds tend to be one of the first colors to go. I think this pink actually ends up looking a lot more just clear and alive than it does pink. So awesome color. And we'll get into how Aaron's Morning Dawn differs from the standard Morning Dawn red flake a little bit later. All right. So next up, I believe this is baby bass. So yeah. Roboworm's baby bass is awesome. It is a dark green watermelon on top with silver flake, which is very bassy. A lighter watermelon lateral line, so it's more of a brighter green watermelon on the side, and then a silvery belly. I mean, that's a baby bass, and I like the fact that they let the dark green blend into the tail, because again, when it's swimming, it has the dark telltale look of how bass have that darker triangular tail. So it does a really good job of being what it actually says it is, which is a baby bass. And there's just a lot of bait fish that look like this. A lot of like creek minnows look like this. So this is one of the more effective and useful colors in the lineup, and I think it's a color that works really well in even stained water. So there you have it, baby bass. All right, let's see what we got next here. Baby bluegill. Now, baby bluegill is one of those colors that confuses me because I'm really familiar with the fish where I live, and the baby bluegills tend to have a lot of brown, like a real warm brown in them, and very light bellies. This is crystal clear on top with gold and silver and maybe a little bit of a bluish green flake in it. Then it has a translucent blue lateral line and then a smoke belly. It's an awesome color. I mean, the top is crystal clear. Beautiful bait. I just don't know why they call it baby bluegill, because, you know, what do I know? If you guys know something I don't know, please let me know. To be honest, I don't see that many baby bluegills in my life. And I've fished for a long time. I see a lot of juveniles, and the juveniles don't really look like this at all, but it's totally a wicked Roboworm color, and it looks awesome. So, yep, there you go. Baby bluegill. Very interesting. Not so sure baby bluegills look like that, but it is a rad color nonetheless. Next up, this is a color that I've used a ton and had a ton of success with, even in clear water, which is really odd. So this color is called Bold Bluegill. Now, Bold Bluegill is brown on the top. It has a dark smoke, maybe almost a navy blue lateral line, and a chartreuse belly and tail. Yeah, bluegills do have chartreuse in their tails, but it's not quite this pronounced. But this is one of those miracle baits that just always works. And like I said earlier, I caught my record small largemouth on this. I think it was pretty much smaller than the bait. And it was on just a real light jig head. So again, a total numbers color, one of the better colors to have. Bold Bluegill. Next up, we have Desert Craw. Now, Desert Craw is an interesting one. It is a really dark watermelon or green pumpkin. It's very translucent though. It's not that solid green pumpkin, with micro red flake in it, and it has a soft translucent orange. Roboworms, when they have this orange in them, they're awesome, because it's not a fluorescent orange that spooks fish. It's a really nice translucent orange that dulls down really nice and gives a good counter shade in the water. It's an awesome color. I've done well with this where I live in the Northeast. In the fall, particularly September and October, this color really shines. And like I said, I think it's because it's not a fluorescent orange. It's such a dull, muted orange that I think that might be the secret to this bait. So again, Desert Craw. All right, next up, we have another one of my favorite colors in the Roboworms, and this is Hologram Shad. And Hologram Shad is pretty rad. It is a clear top with hologram flake. Now, the hologram flake just means that the flakes take on pretty much every color in the rainbow, depending on what angle they're at. It has like a smoke black lateral line and then a white belly. Total bait fish. This looks like so many bait fish in so many places. It's an awesome color. It's an awesome profile. I find that it works in almost all water conditions, believe it or not, being this clear. Everything but maybe the most stained water. So yeah, this is one of my favorites. This is a standout. I think this one is one, no matter where you fish. This would be, maybe one of three in this lineup that I would say everybody should have. So that is Hologram Shad. All right. Next up, we have Margarita Mutilator 3, or MM3. So it is what makes this bait special is it's a warm purple, okay, on top with red flake. So you have the warm purple, which is one of my favorite purples for bass fishing, is that warmer purple. Then you have the true purple in the lateral line, and then the belly goes back to that warm brown. Okay, so you have three colors in it: warm purple, standard purple, and then a warm brown with red flake. Again, I don't know what it is about these. When you're going with bigger worms, I think the color matters more, and there's something about this 4.5-inch curltail worm where I've found every color works in every water clarity except the muddiest of waters. So there you go, MM3 from Roboworm, up close. All right, next up we have Morning Dawn Red Flake. So Morning Dawn Red Flake is a soft pink up top with red microflakes in it. And then the lateral line color is a very soft purple And then the belly goes back to the translucent pink. So you've got pink with red flake, soft, almost a blue purple, and then that soft pink on the bottom. So one thing a lot of people wonder is, how does it differ from Aaron's Morning Dawn? And I would say to you, the biggest difference is Aaron's Morning Dawn tends to look just a hair darker. So they're both this translucent pink, okay? They're both translucent pink, but Aaron's tends to just shift a little bit more purple, and I'm not sure if it's because of the base color or just that they, you know, they stain it down just a shade darker. Okay, they both have the red microflake in them. The lateral line on both of them, on the Aaron's Morning Dawn, it seems to be a slightly darker purple, where on the Morning Dawn Red Flake, it is a bluey purple. And then really the big difference is, honestly, just look at them as the same bait, but the Aaron's Morning Dawn has the white belly, and the Morning Dawn Red Flake just has the clear pink belly. So that's the main difference. So we have Aaron's Morning Dawn and Morning Dawn Red Flake. So slightly different from each other, but really it's all about the belly. All right, let's go on to the next bait here. Next up, we have Oxblood Light Red Flake. So, Oxblood Light Red Flake has typical Roboworm microflakes, which work really well in crystal clear lit up water because the flake is so small, it just gives it a realistic, alive sheen without advertising these big squares of flashes of light. And sometimes that is super useful. Then it sort of has a purple, I would call it a purple lateral line. And then again, the belly goes back to that soft brown on the belly. So this color, I've done really well with variants of this for over, I would say close to 30 years. This color has done really well for me with smallmouths in crystal clear creek water. This is one of the few Roboworm colors that I use when it is as clear as water can get. This is a staple color for me. So that is the Oxblood Light Red Flake from Roboworm. All right, next up is a color I don't use and have not used in the 4.5 inch curltail worm, but this is, again, every time I do one of these, there's always a standout color. And in this lineup, this is the standout color. This is Prism Shad, and Prism Shad is totally rad. It is a opaque, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's an opaque, shimmering back that is like, it's silver and it's green. It's very muted. It's very fishy. It's very shaddy. This is what a lot of the shad where I live look like, and a lot of the bait fish. So it is just absolutely killer. It's silvery, but there is this overall green appearance to it. The lateral line on it is a nice soft pinky purple, and then the belly color is a purple. So it is kind of all of those super clear water finessey colors all rolled into one. I mean, you guys can see the back is just an awesome color. It's almost like a gizzard shad green on the back. Very opaque. It's not super translucent. It gives like a nice Just a nice lifelike sheen all through it. Very bait fishy. Very awesome color. This is a standout. This one will have a place in the lineup for sure. Next up, we have Salt and Pepper Chartreuse. Now, this isn't really a crisp color, but it's interesting. Super clear on top with silver micro flakes in it, then a dark smoke lateral line, and then a chartreuse belly. So I'm gonna say right out of the gate, this should be a clear water smallmouth killer. You know, I'd still probably go bluegill knowing me. I think this is a defective one. It looks like there's an air pocket here and it messed up some of the lamination in it, but sometimes that's pretty cool. It gives it a kind of a different life when there's flaws in it, visual flaws like that. Interesting color, not one that I've ever bought or used before, but you need to see it up close. So there you have it. Salt and Pepper Chartreuse. All right. Next up, we have Smoke Purple Neon Smoke. It's basically just a smoke top with a nice, that warm purple lateral line, and then the smoke belly comes back, and we have the smoke tail. Really an awesome clear water color. I've had fish get very aggressive with this color. I don't know why. Smoke just always works, and this is another one of those Roboworm colors that's very universal for me. You know, I don't shy away from this in stained water. Okay, so that is Smoke Purple Neon Smoke up close. And last up, we have Sexy Shad. So Sexy Shad is a translucent but opaque. It's like a little both. Translucent, opaque back with micro silver, and I don't think it's safe to say that it's a chartreuse flake. You know what it is? It's a hologram flake. So it is a opaque, color shifting. It color shifts blue with the prismatic flake in it. So the color, the flake color shifts, and the opaque clear back sort of color shifts, like almost like a, it's not a pro blue, it's like a just a pearlescent blue, like a shifty pearlescent blue. The lateral line on it is a translucent yellow and a white belly. So it's very much what we refer to as Sexy Shad. Where I live, they don't really look like this, but if I was fishing in, there is one river system near me that has American Shad, and this could sort of pass for an American Shad. So this is another color I've never bought, but I see the merit in this, especially once it gets a few feet under the water. That blue's just going to look dark. This could be, you know, this is one of those colors I'm going to have to use and just sort of see how fish react to it. I'm sure, just like all of these, I'm sure it just catches fish. Like, there's something about the 4.5 inch curl tail worm that it just catches fish. So I would say for you guys, when you go out and you grab a few, really just go based on confidence. Don't worry that whatever you're getting might not work in your waters. It will. At this size, it doesn't really matter. At this scale, you know, just grab a few that like look like some bait fish where you live, and I think you're gonna love that you did it, because not enough of us have this in our arsenals anymore. And I think you know, it's time for me to bring it back out. Finesse baits crush. So thanks for checking in with me again on another one of these all the color deep dives. I think, you know, they're useful if you guys are going to buy some baits. It's nice to see them up close and kind of know what's really going on with them, especially if you're very particular about your bait colors. And I'll see you guys in the next one.